Hello, and welcome to Rock Your Block in today's segment of First Home Alliance. I'm your host, Larry Laws. I'm here to share with you the amazing services that First Home Alliance provide in the community, empower you with knowledge to enhance your financial fitness, and answer questions you may have about housing to make your dream of homeownership a success. On today's episode, we invite a very special guest for the first time to our show. She is an entrepreneur, an artist, a fundraiser, a public speaker. She mentors young girls. This young lady is gifted with many talents and committed to business and community. Please welcome to our show, Candalada. Welcome, Candalada.
Hi, Larry.
Hi. Welcome to the show. Again. Yes. Why don't you tell us, the audience, just a little bit about you?
Well, my name's Candalada. I'm the owner of Hair Therapy. It's located in Woodbridge, Virginia. And I've been here for about 16 years. I came here from New York.
Okay. And from New York, so you're here alone? You have family?
I have family.
You do?
Yes. My mommy's here. My brother's here. My sister was here.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. And what brought you here from New York?
I was dragged. They wanted peaceful, quiet living, and none was available in Brooklyn, so that's how we ended up here.
Yes. Well, we originally met over a year ago. You came to First Home Alliance as a volunteer, and you volunteered there and did some fabulous work for us. Matter of fact, a few of the commercials that we've played is yours.
Yes.
You know, a product of that you produce. How was your volunteer service with First Home Alliance?
Well, I'm not going to say it was bad, Larry. Well, immediately once I got there, I see that you had a staff that was already deep into the financial aspect of First Home Alliance, which I didn't have that much experience with. So I already knew from day one, I was like, oh, let me tell them that I know how to do this other cool stuff.
Yes.
And I wanted to be responsible for visuals and just bring more content so that your audience can see what you do versus just hearing about it in plain text or reading about it.
Yes. Well, you know, we often see resumes. You know, a person may say, you know, I have a degree in communications, you know, I'm creative, you know, but basically, you know, we found out that they have more of an administrative skill, or, you know, that is where their strengths are. But we saw that you not only had studied communications, but you actually had done some work. And what drew your interest in the communication field?
Honestly, they give you this chart in high school, and when you go down the list, it has the requirements. I was like, math, no, more math, By the time I was done crossing off everything with math, I was only left with maybe one or two, and then I read deep into it and I picked communications, and from that day I never changed it. So from high school straight on through, I already knew that that was the field for me based on what they said I needed.
Yes. Now, I know that you took some, you know, photographs, some stills and things of that sort with us, and I see that you have a pretty good eye for, you know, imagery. And so how are you gifted with your eyes?
I'm not. My little sister, she taught me more about still photography.
Okay.
I'm a lover of video, but I can recognize and appreciate a good photo. So I try my hand at it, but she's the real genius behind the stills.
Yes.
Yeah, she's my secret weapon.
Okay. Yes. The award that you received was the President's Volunteer Service Award. And, you know, not all volunteers are able to earn that. You actually served over 300 hours and to receive that award. What do you think about receiving that award at our event?
Well, it's definitely not what I came for, but I felt just overwhelmed and honored. Actually, that's my second one. You know, I got one from Clinton in 5th grade, but that's a whole nother story.
Okay. Well, this one was signed by President Obama.
Yes, it was easy to get it because when I'm looking at video, I want it to be perfect, which isn't achievable, but when you're striving for that, hours and hours just roll by. At some point you have to stop, but it took me a lot of time and focus to get what I thought you wanted. So it's like you have to do a little bit of tapping in to someone else.
Yes.
You know, jumping outside of yourself, looking for the right jazz
Yes.
music, looking for the right house, and that just takes a little bit of time to just jump out of yourself, but it's so much fun.
Yes, and I saw that that you actually spent some time. I mean, your committed time to volunteer has passed, but you have continued to provide services to our community, our organization, and you actually took some time to actually do some research and find music for additional work that you was working on.
Yes, it's you. I mean, actually, I can really thank you for getting me into seeing how fulfilling it could be. It's something
Yes.
that people always tell you, oh, give back, and you think, but how do I give back, and what do I give back, and when do I give back? Do I have time? Does anybody even want what I'm giving?
Yes.
But it's a natural progression. And when you're in conversation, you can identify it right away. You don't have to think about it or
Yes.
lament about it. They go, oh, if only I had someone that can, and you go, that's me.
That's you.
I can do this.
Yes.
And
yes,
you do it.
Yes. Well, it's definitely, you didn't bring that textbook to us. You actually brought real technique. And so we appreciate
I brought you a Nikon.
Yes. You just push it, it works.
Yes.
Yes. I got an app for that.
Yes.
Candalada. Yes, well, since then, your volunteer service, and you still volunteer, but at that committed time that you had working with us on a daily basis, I see that you have moved on.
Yes, I did. I moved right across the street from you.
You did, and I still haven't visited there yet.
Yes, I moved
Yes.
across the street and I opened hair therapy. It's a studio, like a boutique salon. It's 800 square feet, so it's relatively small.
Yes.
And the whole purpose of it is to make people feel comfortable when they're coming to do their hair.
Okay.
Because it's not really just about hair with women, it's more about self-esteem.
Okay.
Some women are coming for that change that's supposed to catapult them and get them ready for the rest of their life. Some want to maintain a style that they already have. But the first thing that happens in any barbershop, any hair shop, is you address your problems and then you get to what is it you really want. So that's the therapy part. When
Really?
they sit and they're talking, I'm like a little fake therapist, just listening.
really?
But I'm listening for specific things. He liked this, he didn't like this, I liked this, I didn't like that. I want to look like Hallie, I don't want to look like Hallie. Those are the clues that help me get them what they need.
Wow, yes. I guess I never indulged in the therapy. I just give me a high and tight,
Well, it's different for you guys. You just say what you want, but we kind of know what we want and we kind of don't, so it's a two-step process.
Okay. Yeah, and what drew your interest to actually working with, I guess, hair?
It's a hobby. It's a gift. It was truly a gift. I ran away from it for years. That's where all of my education came from, because I was studying. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to read the news. I just knew I was going to be a reporter. And all the while, I was still braiding, twisting, cutting, coloring. It was just a hustle, a hustle, a hustle. One day I told them, I'm not doing hair anymore.
Yes.
I stopped for maybe 5 or 6 years. And I realized, this is not a hobby. This is my career.
Yes.
This is why I can't have a job.
Yes.
This is why I keep getting fired, because I'm supposed to run this business.
Yes.
And once I understood what my role was, it just became easy.
Yes. And I think on this side you can be more creative as well.
It is, and I realized I can use my creative talents within the business. I don't have to outsource it. So people ask me all the time, do you feel like you've wasted your education? And I say, absolutely not. I didn't have to pay anyone to do my website. I didn't have to pay anyone to do my photography. I know exactly what I want. I don't have to consult anyone. I consult myself and just make the vision real. I was able to make the business look much bigger than it really is online. Then when they come in, they go, oh.
The angles.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a wide lens.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I understand you're good on with equipment, but also you have maybe some tools and resources that you use there in the salon as well.
Yes, when I went through a series of problems with my own hair. I always had big, fabulous hair, and then it started falling out.
You had a fro before?
Yes,
I
it was
didn't
big,
see it. How are you?
fabulous afro, and it started falling out. So
Okay.
I ran to Landmark to see Bobby Spence, and he's been in the industry for 13 years. He's a trichologist, and he helps people understand a lot about hair loss.
Okay.
And he was very kind to me, and he said, "Your hair is not going to stay gone. You are stressed out, and it will come back." But he reintroduced me, because I read about it, but I never seen it in action. Laser light therapy, and it's
Okay.
these little red lights on your head that help stimulate growth. So he does it on a major scale, and I do it on a smaller scale. And I have a little laser for people that are interested in growing their edges back or stimulating growth where the follicles are not dead.
Yes. And any success with that?
Yes, I have. I don't want to become a laser clinic, because that's not what I am. I just want to extend that add-on service as an option. You can also use those lasers to close the cuticle when you're getting hair color, and hair color is the culprit for damaging a lot of hair. So
Okay.
I also encourage people, when they're going to get the color service, I say, hey, why don't you go on ahead and close these cuticles back after
Yeah.
we've just opened them.
Yeah. You know, if they wait a little while, it'll color itself, you know.
That's not the color we want.
Okay, the color, great. Yeah. What about branding? I mean, how do you, people getting to know you? What are you doing to get your brand out there?
When I think of a brand, I think of Nike, and that's always the reference that I use, because when you see that check, you just know what it is. Kind of similar to the McDonald's arch. So the first thing I knew that I wanted a logo, and I went to a very good friend of mine, Michael Andre, and he created this logo for me. And it's like a little girl with a bun with one chair in her head. And I love hearing what people say that they feel every time they see it. One person goes, "Oh, it means you always have hair on your mind. I love it," you know.
Yes.
But when he created it, he said it was because I started with one chair and just one person.
Okay.
And I said, what can I do with this girl? And I take her everywhere with me. It's a wonder I don't have her on right now. I
Yes.
mean, I have the hoodie on all the time. She's on my car. She's on my door. But I want, when people see it in the future, that it's just a household symbol. You go, oh, I know what that means. Like, oh, we're about to have fun. That means Candalada. That means hair.
Okay. Hold that thought. We're about to take a short break. But before I go, I would like to remind you that First Home Alliance is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency serving the national capital area. If you are a first-time home buyer or a homeowner in need of mortgage assistance, I encourage you to check the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development website for a HUD-approved agency in your area. We will be right back after the break. Stay tuned. We need donated funds for leverage so that these grants will match those funds as well. And so that is the encouragement to give for people to give. And I'm trying to use some good language, in reference to because when you talk about financial literacy, homebuyer education, foreclosure prevention, some people say, well, I don't really want to give to that. But I want to speak to the impact of the community and the impact of not only people losing their home, but it highly impacts property values, home ownership. It impacts crime rate. It impacts homelessness. It impacts high school dropouts. And so I want to demonstrate all those impacts that may not be visible in reference to just home ownership. Welcome back. You're watching Rock Your Block. I'm your host, Larry Laws. On this segment with First Home Alliance, here with our special guest, Candalada. Candalada, before the break, you was talking about branding.
Yes.
And what do you thought about your brand? Tell me a little bit more about the pen you were speaking of.
The
The
pen?
bun?
Oh, the bun on
bun.
her head.
Yes.
I was known in high school for having these little buns on my head. I had
Yes.
the bun, the little Chinese bun. I had it with little butterflies coming out. I had the stuffed bun. It just was a thing that stuck. So he said, oh, this reminds me of you so much, but let me tell you a secret. I said, well, what's the secret? It's not me. He says, no, it's Beyonce. I was like, I love Beyonce.
Okay.
But when I look at it and I think of what he actually said, because sometimes you don't get to talk to creators about what inspired them.
Yes.
I think of how much she works 24/7. hours, that type of work ethic. And that's something I want to have is, wait, I do have it. It's something that I want to maintain and keep with the brand. And so I love to inspire people when they come to reach for whatever it is that they want to do relative to their field. So when they see the brand, I want them to think outside of just hair, but just the total representation of yourself and delivering the message that you want people to have of you.
Okay. And is there any, maybe a niche in the market that you're targeting?
Yes. Natural hair is how I penetrated the market. Okay. At the time, hairdressers were going through, I don't really know what they were going through, but they didn't want to touch natural hair. Yes. But everybody's natural, and they had to really go with an internal conflict. Am I going to push these people away and not make any of these money? Yes. Or am I going to adapt and give them what they want? And while some have made the crossover and they're doing an excellent job, others are still making comments when they're doing it. Yes. And this feeling is trickling down to the customers that it's just not okay to have the natural hair. So I do it, I'm welcoming them, like, it's okay. The bigger, the better. Yes. You know, this isn't challenging to me. There's no upcharge for having natural hair. There's no relaxers in the building. I don't have any relaxer. I do a lot of color, which is still a chemical, but I just feel like I can contribute more by styling the natural hair well. Not just styling it. Yes. We want to look good. You know, if you're going to have curls, they got to be bouncy curls, not just, you know, curls hanging off your head. Yes. And I've been successful at doing that. And after a while, after about a year, then I let them know, guess what? I know how to do everything. Okay. So now I'm promoting diversity, but I really wanted to come in with what's seen as difficult, because it's not difficult, and I wanted to show them that it isn't. It's okay to have natural hair. Okay.
And so do you see some expansion, you know, in the market?
I see opportunity for expansion, but it's not my focus right now. I want to focus on the flagship store, the baby, the original creator. But I have been expanding the brand by getting into other projects, but they're temporary. I don't want to spread myself thin. So one week I might get into something, dedicate my time. When it's over, I come back to my people. I don't want them to feel like I've abandoned them. I don't want to go away for too long. So I take small breaks in between projects.
Okay. And also, I think you may have, talked outside. When you're outside the salon, what are some of the things you're doing?
Well, talking is definitely one of them. I get a new person every time I go to Target. Yes. I'll just be breezing by the aisle and I see them struggling, looking for the product. I go, get that one. Okay. But outside of them, you mean in terms of volunteer work or just my personal work?
Yes, professional.
I've been donating some of my time to other people's causes, things that touch me. Okay. Cancer is something that struck my family a few years ago with my mother. So anytime I see something that has to do with cancer, it catches my eye. And my barber, who cuts my hair, told me, hey, I'm going to be doing this fundraising event. It's going to be $5 haircuts, but I'm only doing number ones. You interested? I said, yes, I'm interested. Yes. So I ran there. I got a number one. I took my sister with me. She got a number one too. But I figured while I was there, I'm going to record it. So as a gift, I gave it to him as being a host, and I gave it to the P&K Cancer Foundation. And their purpose is they raise money for transportation. Okay. Specifically, transportation getting from your house to the hospital in the DC area, which I thought was amazing. My mom had me, so we didn't need that, but it's awesome that they're offering it, and I'm just loving what they're doing.
Okay, super. And there was also a trip to left coast with Nick Rick.
Nick Rich.
He's Nick Rich?
Nick Rich, yes. Nick Rich is my sister's brand, and she's a photographer, editorial, a high fashion photographer, and she's been working here in DC since she's come back from school in China, and she said, I'm ready to go to LA, and that's it. I knew it. I knew no matter what the plan was, I was going to end up in this car going with her. So I just made the appropriate plans. We got in a car and we drove from Virginia to California.
Really? Well, before we talk more about that trip, where did the name Nick Rich come? How did that originate?
Well, her whole name is Nikosha, and we call her Nikki. And then the rest of her name is Richardson, and she just abbreviated it to Rich. But it has like a nice little ring, Nick Rich. And we just liked it. And it actually changed her mental state of being. She really embodied Nick Rich. She really started striving for getting into magazines, and she's recently been published in Northern Virginia just this July. Great. And just staying on target. And I have seen people doing this for 10 years, and they're still doing wedding photography or not the branch of photography that they want to do. So to watch her come straight out of school and do exactly what she wants and be relentless is so inspiring to me.
That's great. Now, on this trip across the left coast.
Left coast, because we on the right and they're on the left.
Yes. How long was the trip?
It took 55 hours. We started off right here in Manassas, drove through Tennessee, then we went down to Arkansas, but she made it flavorful, and she made 2 stops that she said we had to make. They were mandatory, as though the trip wasn't long enough. So one of them was Prada Marfa, that's in Texas, and it's off the beaten path by 35 miles. It's this little Prada store sculpture in the middle of the desert in Valentine, Texas. Yeah, and we got there at night, so but it was beautiful. You're like, wow, it's a store in the middle of the desert, and we came to see it. And you would think, why would someone want to do that? All different types of creative thoughts come to you when you go to see a big body of work like that. And then after we left there, we went to White Sands, New Mexico, and it's in the National Monument. It's these big white dunes as far as the eye can see. And you're out there, it is so quiet. I mean, you can't hear anything. And it was just beautiful. And this family had this little red and white umbrella, just like you see in the commercials. And I just stood there for a minute, and when you put your foot in the sand is cold. And you would think it would be hot, like at the beach. And the sand is cold, and it was beautiful.
Yes. Okay. Well, and when did you return? That was sort of recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was just 2 weeks ago. I took an overnight flight, and it was back in the shop 3 hours after touchdown, working on my next appointment.
Wow. Okay. You didn't have much time to get over jet lag.
No, I didn't get over it at all.
Okay. Okay. Well, some of the other work you've done, I see. We already mentioned about the P&K Foundation. P&K Foundation is. Give us a little bit more about their, what do they do?
Like I said before, they mainly focus on the transportation back and forth. But after working with them, I also was wondering what else, can I get into? And a good friend of mine, she's been working in New York for 9 years as a model. She decided she wanted to open a nonprofit organization called Miss Fancy Pants. And I always saw a lot about it online, and she did some work in Africa teaching the kids how to dance, and she was amazing. She went with her best friend who's a lawyer, and she was teaching kids out there too. So when she came into town, she said, "Hey, Can." I said, "What do you want? You never call me." And she said, "I'm having an event. We do a big photo shoot on the last day to raise the self-esteem of the girls and just make it all about them so they just feel really special." And last year they did it in Brooklyn, my hometown. So I was so excited that she was going to be here in Northern Virginia. I said, "Well, have you invited anyone else?" She said, "Yeah, I invited Paul Mitchell." I said, "Paul Mitchell." So I know Paul Mitchell comes with a big team, and I said, "Hey, how about I give you some video work?"
Okay.
"I think that's what you're gonna need." She said, "I don't have video." And so I did one kid's hair, the shyest kid. I did her hair. I said, "Well, how do you want your hair?" She said, "Oh, I'm so tired of it straight. I want curls." And she's usually so quiet, but for me, she was just talking. Altogether, we got a really persuasive, heartfelt video out of the day. They got to show all of the kids looking fancy and fabulous, and teamwork amongst the businesses that are in my community. So it was a great success.
Yes. And just briefly, I understand there was a Warm Creative. Yes, but I want to. I know that you actually have done some public speaking, have some experience there. Can you briefly talk? That was just recent, wasn't it?
Yes, that was last week. The week before last week.
What did you do last night?
Oh, yeah, I did a presentation last night too.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so Warren Creative was first.
Yes.
That was a few weeks ago. And these women, they had a magazine called Warren Creative that Nick Rich submitted some work to, and they have developed into a branding agency, and I've been following them, and they have these events where they talk about big mistakes, and they encourage women leadership, and it was all women, and they were all talking to us about their mistakes and how they came to be. And they had a 2-minute lightning round where someone from the audience can come up and talk, and I did.
Yes.
And someone that was in that audience saw me and invited me to speak at their speaking engagement.
Okay.
And that's how last night came to be.
Yes.
And it was called, let's call it Messed Up Nights.
Okay.
Messed Up Nights DC.
Okay.
And I talked about some of the mistakes that I made as I tried to evolve my own business, and I gave them a little bit of history of how it all came to be. It was 7 minutes.
Yes, well, that's great. Candalada, I'm so glad that you came on to be able to share, what you're doing with us in the
Thank
community.
you for having me.
Yes, and I hope to see you again on our show.
Thank you.
All right. Our guest today shared with us some of the amazing things she's doing in the community. If you have questions or would like to get involved, contact Candalada or visit her website for additional information. Now it's time to check out our inbox. This is where we share a recent question sent to us from our viewing audience in reference to housing, financial education. Today's question comes from Woodbridge. How far in default do I need to be prior to requesting a modification? My short answer is 0. You do not have to wait any time before requesting a loan modification. You do not have to wait until you're in default before seeking mortgage assistance. HUD-approved nonprofit agencies offer mortgage assistance to homeowners free of charge. We conduct workshops to empower you with knowledge. We share with you a list of community resources that are available to assist you in many ways. We educate and guide you through the request for loan modification and short sale process, and other available options to help you avoid foreclosure. Our goal is to stop all foreclosures in Prince William County, and with your help, we can. Please assist in our outreach efforts and encourage homeowners with mortgage concerns to contact First Home Alliance or a HUD-approved housing counseling agency today. If you have questions concerning financial education, homeownership, email our inbox at help@firsthomealliance.org to get your questions answered, and tune in to our next show to see if your question was selected to be shared with our audience. If you want to find out more about our services we offer, visit our website. Thank you for watching Rock Your Block and today's segment of First Home Alliance. I'm your host, Larry Laws, reminding you that I'm here to empower you with knowledge to enhance your financial fitness and answer questions you may have about housing to make your dream of homeownership a success. Thank you.
Flex Boot Camp is a pilot program. We are seeking applicants that are serious about getting into financial shape and willing to take on the Financial Literacy Education Experience Challenge. We ask candidates for a 12-month commitment of financial management conditioning. We offer 10 financial education modules augmented by monthly confidential one-on-one financial coaching sessions. We are committed to help you reach your financial goal. Your success is our success. If you are interested, please visit our website for more information.